type of applications are business applications. Not only these, and using .NET, we can develop WPF applications. It stands for Windows Presentation Foundation. It's type of Windows Forms application only. It is an extension of Windows Forms. Whereas WCF applications are there. Is nothing but Windows Communication Communication Foundation. Windows Communication Foundation, WCF applications. And MVC application also possible. Like, yes, our complete ASP.NET is belongs to MVC applications only. Model View Controller applications. Model View Controller applications. And using .NET, we can develop Windows services, as well as web services. Web services is old technology, and advanced technologies, Web API applications. So these are the application area where we can use .NET. So standalone console applications, Windows Forms applications. Yes, we are going to cover this console applications, Windows Forms applications, web applications, okay, and MVC applications. Web services means it is nothing but web API. Okay, all our related applications. Because .NET only, not only purely software programmer, right? So they can implement network programmers, mobile applications, gaming applications, gamers also they use C#.NET. So different according to their requirement, they can choose type of applications. But our main development applications are console, Windows Forms, web applications, and MVC, web services, as well as web API. All are we will cover. Okay. So according to our needs, that's the main thing. Now coming to this, today I'm going to start with C#.NET console application because I said main maximum syllabus I'm going to cover in C#.NET with console application point of view only, because console applications are conceptually which is really important. Yes, once you know the concept and interview point of view also. So interviewer may ask many questions related to like object-oriented programming features and object-oriented programming related questions. All we will be covered in console application only. So in Windows Forms application, most of the code we will cover it in ADO.NET process, like communicating with the database, how to perform operations against database. This type of operations we can do with Windows Forms. In web application means completely online application development is possible. So let's begin with console application. First, we have to know the basics of console application, how to create and what is that. Okay, let's create basic application here, basic introduction. As I said that console application is a standalone or a desktop application, right? Yes, console application means it is a standalone. Console application is a standalone or desktop applications. Desktop application. Yes, it is a standalone or desktop application. Next, in console applications, in console application, console is a class. Console is a class which is used to work with, input and output. Input and output means if you want to take input from the user, then we use console class, or else if you want to give inputs to the program, then we can use console class. In console application, console is a class which is used to work with input and output. And console present in standalone means it's a desktop application. Standalone meaning is what? Suppose I develop the one application. Okay. That application, if I install in my mission only it works. Other missions, it will not work. It is limited to one particular mission where the product is installed. That is standalone. Okay. Yeah. So suppose any product based application is a standalone. installed applications. For example, Flipkart.com is there. It's not standalone. It can run anywhere, any mission just by typing a web address. Suppose Visual Studio is there. It's a product. I need to download and install the Visual Studio in my system. I can only use that product, right? Like MS Office is there. Product. That is standalone applications. That installed applications are standalone, like product-based applications, like distributed applications are online applications that is not standalone. It can be run on any particular system just with internet connection only. So in console application, console is a class which is used to work with input and output. But console class present in system namespace. Console class present in system namespace. Namespace means library. So I said that in the last lecture, C#.NET mainly two components are there in .NET, base class libraries or common language runtime. But these two are main components. So namespace is nothing but it's a built-in class libraries. How the C++ programmers call it as header files, how Java programmers call it as packages. So that's purpose in our .NET we will call it as namespaces. This class is present in which namespace? System namespace. So on the top of the program, we have to include system namespace. Below in the program, if you want to use console class. Okay, console class is present in system namespace, right? Next, console class is having methods. Console class methods. What are the basic methods are there in console class? Let's see. Let's talk about basic method. So, and one more thing, C#.NET is a case-sensitive programming language. It is a general-purpose, high-level, object-oriented programming language, and C#.NET is a case-sensitive programming language. C#.NET is a case-sensitive programming language. Case-sensitive programming language. Okay. So C#.NET is a case-sensitive programming language. Okay. Case-sensitive programming. Case-sensitive means what? If you use any names in lowercase or if you use any names in uppercase, that same case only have to use, not other cases. Okay. So that is the main thing. So console class is having methods. What methods are there means write method, W capital. Okay. Read method, so write line method, W capital, and L capital, write line method, L capital. Next, read method, RED, read method. Next, read line method, read line method. So R capital, L capital. These are the built-in methods which are associated with console class. Okay. So what is the use of write line method? Generally, write line methods are output methods. If you want to display something, or if you want to display as an output to the end user, then we can use write line. So how we use in C++ language printf. Printf is for output, right? So in C#.NET we use write line methods. And what is the difference between write and write line method? So simple. Write line means if I use write method, the output statements which is display in same line only, not in the next line. But whereas if I use write line method, the output statements are display in line by line. Or suppose here I'm writing console dot write method. So I can say hello in one line. Again in next line, console is a class, write is a method. So I can say hi. Okay, this is the two statements I'm using here. Two statements I'm using, right? So two statements I'm using here, but output how it is coming like this in the you know hello, hi, both are present in the same line only. But you have used two statements, right, sir? Hello, hi. But how the output is coming same line because we are using write method only. So if we use write method, the output statements are present in the same line, not in line by line. But whenever it comes to like line, write line method, if I use here at write line, here also write line. So if I use write line, the output will be print into line by line. Hello is printed in one line, and what we can say, um, hello is print in one line, and hi is going to print in other line. That is line by line. So this is next line or new line also we can call it as write line means. Okay, fine. But what about read and read line? Read and read line means input methods. Input means sometimes programmer need to give input values to the application or input values to the program. So you need to ask the inputs from the user, right? So in that context, we use read line methods required. So difference between read method, read line method will be also discussed. Actually, if I use read method, it will read single character or next character. Means character by character will read. For example, my input is Mohan. The moment when I give my input Mohan, if I use read method for reading this user inputs, it will read what character by character only. First M letter, next O letter, next A H letter like this. And that too read method will read ASCII value of the character, not directly character, because you know that every alphabetical character is having ASCII value, right? That ASCII value is number. So that's the reason read method will read ASCII value of the character. So that's what return type of read method is integer. Return type of read is integer. Why it is return type of read is integer? Because read method will read ASCII value of the character only, like number that is. But whenever I use read line method, it will read group of characters, means all characters at once only. It will read group of characters. So that's what group of characters means, what string format. So it return, okay, it return string value. So return type of read line method is string. String will be read actually. So whole characters at a time it will read by using read line method, but whereas read method will read only one character at once. That too read method will not read directly character, single character. It will read group of characters at once, one by one read character. It will read ASCII value of the character. ASCII means every alphabetical character is having ASCII number, right? American Standard Code for Information Interchange. That in integer number will read. So let's see how it is practically. We are going to write the code here by using write line, read line method. Okay. Now it's time to create the application which I discussed just now, console application. This is our first application I'm trying to create here. But as I said that to create this console application, you must and should install Visual Studio 2022. Already have download and install. So let's open that Visual Studio 2022. So I'm going to search, click on, go to the, just type in search box Visual Studio. So you are able to see this Visual Studio 2022 right here, 2022. Now you can see here in my desktop, first of all, I'm trying to create one folder. So just I'm creating one folder because for this batch, all the programs and applications, everything I would like to store in this folder. So go to the new, let's create one folder. So I'm creating the folder name is simply .NET 7 PM. Okay, this is .NET 7 PM. So this is the folder name .NET 7 PM. So let's go to Visual Studio. First time when we go to Visual Studio, you will be able to get this Visual Studio dialog box completely. And in the left hand side panel, I am getting so many applications. These are recent application list which I created for other batches. But right hand side you can observe few options are there. Clone a repository, get code from an online repository like GitHub or cloud based Azure like that. If you have your code there, you can collect it. Open a project or solution. Do you have solution file in your computer that you can open, or else you have any project folder with you, you can open, or else extremely do you want to create for the first time new project, I recommend this create a new project. So let's click on new project. Now you can see after click on new project, so you must select the language type is C# because our language is C#.NET. And look at this, all platforms or Windows platform, anyone you can select. I'm selecting all platforms. And now you can see type of application is, right now I'm creating console application, right? So let's create console application. I'm selecting console type. But notice this, the moment I select a console type and C# .NET all platform, there are two templates are available right now. One template is console app template. Other template is also console app template. Okay, I said in the demo sessions clearly, there is a clear differences with the .NET framework and core framework. Look at this. If I select this console app .NET framework, which can run on only Windows operating system, even though if I select all platform, but it can run on only Windows. They are saying clearly here Windows only. But if I select this template, what is the difference? If I select this template means it can run on any operating system. That means you are looking for core platform, .NET Core. Core means it can run on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and other operating system. If I select below one, it will run only Windows. So this is .NET Framework. But just for time being, I'm telling you, just I'm selecting first .NET Framework only. Let's see by going to the forward steps. What is the difference? Okay, I'll go back again. Click, go to next, and you can see the first project name is showing application 3 only, but actually it has to show application 1 only because first time we are going to create one application, right? So why? Because already the folder I selected .NET 8 PM. This is not our folder. Just now I created folder in desktop .NET 7 PM. So click on ellipse button and go to the desktop location and choose your .NET 7 PM folder. Select this. Now, whenever I select this .NET 7 PM, so now you can see the project name is console app 1. You can change the name also if you want. Okay, your project name is this one only. So I'm not doing any changes, but notice this. In the previous window, I select .NET Framework console app, right? So that's the reason what framework is showing here, .NET Framework 4.8. So do you remember in the last lecture, I clearly mentioned .NET Framework versions and core versions. What is the latest .NET Framework version? I said 4.8. And core version is what? Latest version, core 8 version. This is our main topic actually. I will continue with this all my lectures with core 8 only. Just I'm showing the differences you have to at least know. So for that first time only, I'm going to show you both .NET Framework as well as .NET Core templates. Next time, once I start with the .NET Core template, I'll continue with that core only, not framework. So here .NET Framework 4.8 is showing because it is latest framework 4.8. 4 onwards, it Microsoft is going to support 4, 4.5, and below 4 versions, Microsoft literally stop the services or stop the support. So 4, 4.5, 4.5, 1, 4.5.2, these are the sub versions like 4.8 only this is. So do you want to create your console application with the .NET Core, .NET Framework 4.8? Yes, you can create it, no problem. I will show the difference. Okay, so let's click on create. Remember this, I am selecting .NET Framework only, not core. Later I will delete this application and I'll recreate core platform. What is the differences? You can observe first only. Now, first time when we create .NET application, like console application using .NET Framework, so this is the basic structure of console program. So look at this, all these all header files, like in .NET terminology, we can call it as namespaces. So using system.collections.generic, so using system.language integrated query, system.text, system.threading.tasks. And these are built-in libraries. I said base class libraries, no? These are the base class libraries. These are building blocks of .NET Framework. Without these base class libraries, we can't uh, write .NET programs. Just now I said we are working with right now console application, right? So console is a class. Console class present in what namespace? System namespace. So already system is there. So in .NET, what is the advantage? Based upon the selected application, what are the main default relevant libraries? Automatically it is available. In case in future, whenever it is required any library, you need to import by your own. Okay. But in Java, other languages, you must import all the things from your end only. It will not import by default. Okay, fine. This is our console application name. By default, for the first time when we create console application, you will get a program that is class name, program only. And it's having main method, static void main, M capital, and string args. This is command line arguments. Okay, so main method is an entry point. And before going to write the coding, you can see right hand side of Visual Studio 2022 editor, Solution Explorer is there. This Solution Explorer is important. You can manage all files and folders for your application. So my application name is console app 1 and the program name is by default here program.cs. Now double click, you can see this is the program.cs, only we are in program.cs, right? So Solution Explorer program.cs. Okay, fine. So this is the class name. Why CS means C sharp extension is .cs only. Every time C sharp .NET extension is .cs. Okay, right. So let's try to write the code here. So just I want to write some printing output statements. So for that I'm using console class. Look at this. The moment when I start console, even I have not completed like console, automatically the IntelliSense is coming. So if you IntelliSense is showing what you are looking, simply you can press tab key, automatically it will capture from there. I'm hitting tab key, even I'm not writing right line also. So this is the advantage while writing the code in Visual Studio. So simply press tab key, automatically capture from IntelliSense. No need to write. Suppose I'm writing welcome like this. Next line console.write line. Welcome to Durga. Okay, fine. This is my program. And notice this once. The moment I use console class, automatically which namespace is active? System namespace. Why? Because I said console is a built-in class which is coming from system namespace. So what happen if I don't use this system namespace like remove or comment? Comment means what? I don't want to include this system library, right? So how to give comment means select this line, simply control forward slash from your keyboard, control plus forward slash. So automatically commented. This is commented line. Again, you want to uncomment, you can select it, control forward slash only like this. Control forward slash comment, uncomment purpose, control forward slash. But notice this when I comment this control forward slash by hitting. So what is the reaction you observe? The console is is having underline red squiggly. That means error. So when we place mouse pointer over, it says clearly the name console does not exist in the current context. So the console class is present in system library, but you have not imported on the top. That's what it's showing error. At least if you don't include on the top like using system, even you can also include like this system dot console. Even here you can see system dot console. Okay, now you can start run and you can see it works well. So whenever we execute, see how to execute actually you can compile first or later you can execute. Both are same. Build means compilation. Build console app. Look at this left hand side, build succeeded. Or else directly you can hit the start button, automatically it will compile and run. So this is also possible. But every time system dot is not recommend because one time is enough to include no on the top. That's better. So if you have multiple lines, no need to include that. And there is one more option. If you want to give comments, like select this and simply there is a option also there, commented option is there. Comment, click on this option. Again, uncomment purpose, click on this option, automatically uncomment. So this is console class dot write line. Welcome console class dot write line Durga sir. When I run this, what's happening? You can see this. Is this getting output? Yes, output is getting, but the output screen is not going to be stay back. So the reason is it is just output window is coming and going, right? But to stay back output window, so we need to include one more method, that is console.read. It's keep on reading the output window until you close that window. Now when I run this, you will see this welcome to Durga Soft. But how the output is coming, like welcome is one line, to Durga Soft is another line. Why? Because I have used in my statements console.write line method. But when the moment I use console.write only, so I said write line differences. When we use write method, the output statements display in the same line. When we use write line method, the output statements display in line by line. Right now I'm using write method only. So welcome is one line, to Durga Soft is the same line only, right? So this is the way. To display line by line, we can use write line. Or instead of write line, we can also use /n. Look at this /n I'm using. /n means next line. So the console.write along with /n is equal to console.write line. I can say that. Both are same. Next line is printing like this. Okay. But this is what .NET framework through I created console application, right? Right. Now let's go to the location where your console application project is there. And let me check in that location, sir. Okay. Yeah. Let's check out in the .NET 7 PM folder. And now you can see console app 1 is there. Double click on it. Bin folder is there. Double click on it. Debug folder is there. Double click on it. And there is a console app 1.exe and console app 1 PDP. That means debug file, program debug data file. And this is configuration file. So this is executable file actually. Whenever I double click on this console app 1 executable file, we are getting output directly because I said yesterday always two files are there, .exe and DLL. .exe is a direct file which can run on any time because it's having main method. Okay, so these are the files created here. Fine. Next, how to add one more class to this application. Okay, so I'm trying to add one more extra class to this console application. So right now we are having only one class, that is program. So can I add one more extra class? Yes. So because console application is nothing but it's a multiple classes. So multiple number of classes we can keep on add. So how to add means, look at this. There are different options are there to add console classes. Go to Solution Explorer, right click on console app 1. It's our project name or application name. Go to add, then after that click on class. Okay, go to add, then after that click on class. So once I click on class, it will ask you to select the class template and class1.cs. Class1 is name of the class, .cs is the extension. Then click on add it. Otherwise you feel that it is lengthy, I should not go like console app 1, right click and go to add. Okay, and click on class like this. This is lengthy process. If you feel, there is a shortcut option is there. Easily we can add extra class to the console application. How it is? Simply you can see project menu is there on the top. Add class is there. Simply add class. This is also same. Click on add. So extra class added successfully, sir. So the class 1 only. But notice this, for the first time when we create console application, it will come along with the class name program along with main method. But in the next time when we add extra class to the console application, then this class do not have any main method. So you have to add manually. How to add manually? Static void main, open and close. Now you can see inside the main method, I am not mentioning any string args like how it was previously. By default we got string args. No, yes, this is command line arguments, but including command line arguments is optional, not compulsory, because manually we are writing, no, so not required to include, optional that is. But or else you can have the shortcut key to generate main method. By default shortcut key is there. What is that shortcut key? Means SVM you have to type. S for static, V for void, M for main. Simply press tab key, automatically look at this static void main, M capital, this string args also came. So this is the way to add main method. So let's see, I'm writing one more statement, console.write. So hello Durga sir, for example, this is my output. I want to read to stay back our screen. So now this time I want to execute this class1.cs because I need output hello Durga sir, right? But whenever you execute this, you will get an error. Why sir this is error? Because everything is fine. Yes, everything is fine. Your code is having no problem. But the problem is here in the current application, you have two programs, right? Program.cs and class1.cs. So it's saying like there were build errors, means compilation errors. It is asking you, would you like to continue and run the last successful build? Say yes means last output will come, last program output. Along with last program output, errors also will display what error is there. And if you say no means only you will get error. What error? Error list. It is, you can see this. It is saying clearly program has more than one entry point defined. program has more than one entry point defined. Okay, so that means what? Entry point means main method. So this class 1 is having an entry point, as well as program.cs is having an entry point. Okay, so compiler will get confusion which main method onwards execution should be start. So to avoid that confusion to the compiler, we need to set startup object as a programmer. So from which class onwards do you want to execute? Because two classes are having main method. So that we need to set as a programmer like startup object. Startup object means from which main method onwards you want to start. So how to change startup object in console application, especially in .NET Framework template? So go to Solution Explorer, double click on properties. There is a properties option is there. Double click on it. Once you double click on it, there is startup object option is there. There is a drop down list. When we expand the drop down list, immediately you will see how many number of programs right now you have in your application. That many program names are coming. So which program do you want to execute from the starting onwards? Means class 1. I'm selecting class 1, and don't forget to save changes. Click on save changes. Once you save changes, now start run. But look at this target framework is framework 4.8 only, not core framework. Later I'll start core framework also. Once I run this, your recent startup object changed to like from program.cs to class 1. So class 1 program is running. But what about, sir, next I want to run program.cs? Simply you can go to this location and program.cs you can select and save changes and then run it now. Now you can see run. Welcome to Durga's, right? So this is the case exactly here. So changing startup object is in .NET Framework. This is double click on properties, expand this drop down list. Like in future, you can add many number of classes, and each class you can maintain main method. From which program do you want to execute? Come to here, I can select that program name and save changes and run it. So this is the procedure to change startup object in Visual Studio .NET Framework through. But anyway, we are not going to continue these programs, right? .NET Framework is not our cup of tea. So it's a .NET Core framework. Let's create again the same application with the .NET Core version, how it is. So I'm trying to close this Visual Studio first. And meanwhile, let's delete this console application from .NET 7 p.m. folder. So I successfully delete. Right now you can see .NET 7 p.m. is empty folder. Now notice this point. I'm trying to create with the .NET Core version console application. What is the difference? You will come to know that. So I'm going back to Visual Studio 2022. Same steps. Create new project. Select this and choose the language called C#.NET. All platforms console type application. Now this time I'm going to select this one only. So far I have shown all the options with what template? Framework template, right? So now I'm selecting this template. This template is literally for .NET Core. Okay, so select this template, click on next, and look at this console application 1, the project name, because already console application 1 which I created with the .NET Framework through I deleted from .NET 7 p.m. folder. Again, it is saying console app 1. And note this point, next, click on next, and notice this in the next window you are going to see what is the framework .NET 8.0. It's not .NET Framework 8.0, .NET 8.0. .NET 8 means core version. .NET Core 3.1 out of support, 6.0 out of support, 7.0, 8.0 long-term support, and 9.0 standard term support. So this is .NET Core version I'm selecting, right? And remember, you can see this is do not use top level statements is there, right? What is this meaning? Right now it is activated. Do not use top level statement. If I deactivate, what is the problem? By default, all the usings means namespaces which are present on the top of the file. Just now we have seen using system.collections.generic, using system.task, like this, all including our own namespace also it will not come. Directly program will start. But that's not good practice to do. So I recommend to activate this checkbox. Do not use top level state management means it will not use automatically top level statements like header files, your application name, class name, basic structure as it is, it will come, sir. So this is, I'm activating this Do not use top level statement. Okay, so let's click on create, and it is creating the new console application, but make sure that which is .NET Core platform only. Okay, core platform through, not what we can say, framework. No. So now automatically in the .NET Core internal class program, static void main console.writeline hello world is coming. Now, if I click, it's working fine. Hello world is going to display, but the output window is coming and going because you have to stay back or screen. For, for that purpose, I'm going to use console.read statement, read method. Okay, now let's run it. Now it's working fine. Hello world. Okay, fine. But notice this in the solution explorer, we are having console app 1 only, but we don't have any properties and so on. Only program.cs is there, first program. But if I add one more class to this core platform, how to change startup object? Yes, that is somewhat little bit different. You can see I'm adding one more class to this project. Add class, then class template I'm selecting, class1.cs and click on add. Then once we add, you can see we are getting the same structure. Take svm main method, and now this time I'm trying to write console.writeline, and I want to execute this statement. Welcome to durgasoft.net online sessions, right? So I'm writing like this, and to stay back to our screen, console.read. Yes, now this time I want to execute class 1 program. But as I said that program.cs is having an entry point and class1.cs is having also entry point. When I run this, you will get an error. What is the error? Again, the program has defined more than one entry point. So just now we completed this option with the .NET framework because we have to change startup object, right? For changing startup object, what was there in .NET framework version? There was a properties, but here in the core version right now, we don't have any properties. How to get properties? Right click on your project folder, console app 1, and there last you will see that properties option is there. Click on that. Automatically property window will open. But in this property window, you can see the target framework is .NET Core 8.0 it is. And the startup object option here it is there. And expand that, class 1 I'm selecting and save changes and run this. You will get output, welcome to durgasoft.net online sessions. Okay, so this is the way to change startup object in .NET Core template as well as .NET Framework template, how to manage your files and classes in C# .NET Console application. Okay, but let's observe here previously when I open this console application directly, bin folder is there. Look at this bin debug, and this is .NET 8 version, and console app 1.dll file is there, and console app executable file is there, and JSON file is there because JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. It can be understand on any platform. So that's what DLL file also there here, application extension, which can run on any platform, Windows, Linux, Mac OS and all. So this is today's session, which I explained console application introduction and application area, how to uh, prepare console application, how to change startup object, how to handle with classes. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any question, feel free to ask me now. Tomorrow to be continued from here onwards where I stop now. This is basic programming with .NET Core platform. So tomorrow I'm going to continue from here onwards. We will introduce more basic things like how to handle with variables, how to handle with output statements, how to ask the input values from the user, how to retrieve the data from the user by using read method, readline method. All these things will be covered in tomorrow clearly. Tomorrow also you have a demo session. You can feel free to attend using the same link at same time at 7 p.m. Okay. So that's all for today. Have a nice day.